Hi, today we're doing the final presentation proposal. We're group three, and this is our team.
I'm Arjun, the head of marketing.
Hi, I'm Alex, head of creatives.
I'm Linda, head of project management.
I'm David, head of data analysis.
And I'm John Piper, head of social media.
Introduction. This is Kim Bonnick. She is branded as Kim Bonnick, the mortgage chick, in addition to her position as vice president of Rate.com in Texas. Her goal is to basically grow her brand through various social media accounts. Our key strategy that we've used for this project is that we incorporate Instagram and Facebook. Currently, when we started off as a strategy, her followers was 164 and the followers on Facebook was 58. Our mission is to determine the factors that contribute to Kim Bonnick, the mortgage chick's competitive advantage in the social media branding industry, and to develop ways to improve its marketability and increase brand awareness for mortgage realtor. Our vision is that we are dedicated to informing, entertaining, and educating our audience about mortgage financing while also equipping them with the information and resources they need to make wise financial decisions. Our goal is to basically increase followers and engagement. By increasing engagement metrics from our marketing campaign posts, such as likes, comments, shares, and click-through rates, we hope to increase user interaction. We also want to enhance brand awareness and recognition. We're concentrating on creating a distinctive brand identity through consistent messaging, visual branding, and distributing insightful materials about mortgage financing in order to increase brand awareness within our target demographic. And our third goal is to become a trusted industry resource. We intend to consistently provide interesting instructional and meme content on our social media platform by providing helpful insights, tips, and advice for prospective homebuyer in order to establish our brand as a reliable resource in the mortgage financing industry. And now I'm going to pass it on to David, where he will define the customer.
Thank you, Linda. Our target market focus on first-time homebuyers and homeowners looking to refinance. First-time homebuyers typically are between the age of 25 to 34 years old. Our ideal customer would have 2 years of consistent employment and a minimum credit score of 580. Their average annual salary is around $50,000, and they would be living in the United States. Some of the special interest groups that qualify for discounts are military, teachers, healthcare, firefighters, and law enforcement. For first-time homebuyers, the top 3 motivations for purchasing their home are stability and security, investment and equity, and pride of ownership. First-time homebuyers are looking for these three things when considering a lender, which are low APR, low down payment, and low closing costs. Next, we'll talk about the 4 competitors. Kim's largest 4 competitors are Rocket Lending, which is the largest mortgage lender in the United States, followed by UWM, Loan Depot, and Wells Fargo. Next, I'll pass it on to Johnny.
When we were thinking about doing our work breakdown structure, we did have to make a few different changes to our schedule. For our designing of the post, we did have it due on the day of the post, and that was an individual task that we all decided to take on instead of having it done beforehand. We also had to request Kim's approval day to day, just to make sure that she was happy with the posts that we were doing. And since we were doing the posts on the day that we wanted to, it was just easier to send it to her that way. We also did change the monitoring of her metrics as we started it at a different date than we thought that we were going to. It was still 7 days, but we did start on the 27th of June. Another thing that we did change was the collection phase and the close phase. Some things that we did change was giving the information to Kim, which we are going to do actually tomorrow, since we are still collecting some data and some of the data is still being finalized. We also have to create the report, which is what we're doing right now, but we are still in the works of trying to finalize that to send to her as well. Some unique aspects that we did have to change too was having individual roles change. I know that some of our roles did change throughout the project, and I think that we ultimately did stick really well to our work breakdown structure, but there were some minor changes that helped make our make our presentations of our information for social media more presentable and more digestible for consumers. Next, I'll be handing it on to Linda.
So we basically did the Gantt chart, and this chart basically gave us the tools to stay organized while managing our marketing campaign. We only had like a week to do our campaign, so it was very short. But this also provided us an overview of the project progression, which includes the project timeline, task dependencies, and progress. So as you can see here, we only started off in June 12th till July 4th. The majority of us is to keep like organized with like the designing the content and posting it and just analyzing the metric and just like following the engagement with our audience. And now that it's we're done with the marketing campaign, we just have to analyze the statistic and just keep ourselves or like we're just done with the task dependencies. Next, I will pass it on to Alex.
So for project incorporation, as you saw before with the help of Kim, we were able to use Instagram and Facebook since both were linked. It was easier and faster to post. Also mentioned, we wanted to split up the post by scheduling which days we preferred and or suited best with our schedule. For collaboration, we collaborated with Group 4 and Patrick. Group 4 did YouTube. We were able to communicate via text and share our content through email. We did this by reposting Group 4's content on Instagram and sharing one of our reels with them to repost on YouTube. We also utilized Patrick's social media experience for tips and tricks and tips, as well as one of our posts. So our project incorporation was pretty successful and eventful. Now I'm passing it on to Johnny.
You. So for our cost management, as we first thought, we used time as our biggest cost as we had to accommodate throughout our experience. Some of us spent time talking with Kim Bonnick, like Linda, and some of us spent time researching her and her personal/professional life. I did some of that for the reel, and I know that some of my other group members did that for some of the content that was posted. And we all spent time to create personalized content for her accounts. We all split our time to create individual content that we all agreed on to post, and we sent that in our group chat, and we all came together to individually create content that we all collectively thought would be professional enough and worthy to be posted. Next, I'll be handing it off to Arjun.
When it came down to measuring our project success, we used several different factors to determine how our group did. The first factor we looked into was comments. The average remained at 0 comments per post. This wasn't a complete shock since there weren't many comments before we started working on the account. The next factor that we looked into was the average amount of likes per post. We didn't have any significant changes when we looked into Facebook. However, we did double the average number of likes per post on Instagram. The third factor that we tracked was followers. We were only able to gain 5 followers on Facebook, but we did have better luck with Instagram because we gained around 24 followers. Another factor that we took into consideration was profile visits. Our group didn't have access to the statistics on Facebook, so we were only able to determine the changes for Instagram. Profile visits are where we saw the most significant increase. It went from 25 profile visits in a week to 176. And then last but not least, we tracked the accounts reached. This was a bit of a shock for us, but we somehow reached about 126 fewer people than before. I will now pass it on to Alex, who will dive deeper into the ROI.
So now we'll be discussing the return on investment. We can view it as phases and sections, starting with our investment with we can see that with research of the post, we were able to gain personal knowledge of first-time home buying and manage social platforms professionally. As you saw, we did try to match like our post colors. We also collaborated among Group 4 and Patrick and asked if others if they needed assistance. Next is partner investment. We did see an increase, as Arjun mentioned, in Instagram followers and profile views. Although we didn't reach the goal of 200, we did get close to it as 181 followers. And lastly, the total return on investment. There is somewhat of a satisfaction between our team and our collaborations. And also there's the satisfaction of maybe potential first home buyers among the followers that we did gain. Next slide. Next is our brochure. We use Canvas to create and edit it. There are slight changes like having clear images and more professionalism, such as putting her contact information and keeping a consistent form. The colors of her brochure would also match her slides colors as if she were to use it hypothetically if she presented it. Also using real life testimonies from Zillow. Now I'll be passing it on to Arjun.
By using Asana to manage our team's progress taught us many valuable lessons. The first lesson was that using Asana is a great way to keep up with real-time progress. It clearly shows what step each person on the team is working on. Another lesson that we learned using Asana was that it is a great way to distribute work to each member, and it shows their projected completion date. Using Asana also taught us the importance of being accountable for our parts, since others could be waiting for that task to be completed to move on to the next part of the project. We also realized that there can be scheduling issues that arise as we try to complete the project, so we must plan ahead in case we encounter them. Asana also prepared us to become more efficient when working in a team overall, since you can send messages right on the platform, update completion dates, and reassign tasks to others. Next, I will talk about the lessons that we learned. We believe that there were 5 important lessons learned during this project. The first is to communicate clearly. For example, if a person cannot complete their part by the scheduled date and time, they should inform the rest of the team so they could make changes to accommodate for the situation. The second important lesson that we learned was to follow the timeline. It is extremely important to follow the schedule so it doesn't interrupt the progress of a project. Another lesson that we learned by working on this project was to be realistic. We were initially aiming for an unrealistic increase in followers, but after we were halfway through, we quickly shifted our expectations to be more reasonable. The next lesson that we thought was important was to create content in advance. Doing this decreases the chances of possible grammatical and spelling errors. This was an issue that our group personally ran into. We published a post that wasn't entirely accurate, so we had to take it down and repost it after correcting our mistakes. And the last important lesson that we took away from this project was to keep a business page strictly professional. Any unrelated post should be made on a personal account rather than the business page. I will now pass it on to John, who will be explaining the unexpected positive outcomes.
Thank you, Arjun. Here are some unexpected positive outcomes that our group ran into. We did learn new skills for future employments. This included working with social media and working with a person who has expertise in a field for a long time, as well as being really open to different ideas and different content creation that other people might have. We also learned and understood project management tools, as we discussed before, like Asana, the NAT charts, and WBS. We also found new content creation and unique ways to reach new clients through our social media posts and using different apps to create such content. We also found new interest in social media software tools such as Canva and Adobe and Photoshop, just to make sure that all of the information that we were putting was cohesive and beautiful to look at. Next, we will have Linda talking about our project in action.
So basically, we did probably 5 or 6 Instagram posts. We actually wanted to do more like tips and like things you should avoid. And then we also put in memes. I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to John, where he'll talk about his reel.
Thank you, Linda. Now for the reel, I was thinking about the content that we had already created, and since the content that we had already created was very much informative and talking about the nitty-gritty details about getting a mortgage and finding a mortgage lender that was suitable to your needs, I wanted to show why Kim would be the best option for getting a mortgage through her. So I did look through one of her YouTube videos that was posted a while back, and I took some of the information from there. So as we'll see in just a few seconds, the Instagram reel does dive into some information regarding her. So yeah, most of the information was taken from that YouTube video, and next on to Linda to complete the project in action.
And then our second strategy, which is we use Facebook, and we basically didn't have access to her Facebook, but every time we posted something on Instagram, it just linked up with the Facebook account, and we just posted from there. And it's basically the same kind of content that we posted, except for I don't think that the reel was posted on Facebook, but the the tips of the days and the memes were posted, so that was really great to see. And that's it for our presentation. Thank you so much.